Welcome to Carmen Hub Radio Podcast. Today's question is, why did all of the great civilizations abruptly fall apart in 1177 BC?
That's very interesting.
Isn't it, Jessica? Okay, so here's something wild. Over 3,000 years ago, the Mediterranean was like the Silicon Valley of the ancient world. Booming trade, cutting-edge technology, and interconnected empires. And then, almost overnight, it all fell apart. What could possibly cause an entire civilization to collapse like that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The Late Bronze Age collapse is one of history's greatest mysteries. We're talking about massive cities burning to the ground, trade networks disintegrating, and entire writing systems disappearing. It's like the ancient world hit a reset button, and historians are still trying to figure out why.
And what's so fascinating is that it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't like one empire fell and the rest carried on. This was a systemic collapse, a perfect storm of disasters that hit the entire region. Wars, climate change, natural disasters, economic breakdowns. It all came together in this catastrophic chain reaction.
Right. And one of the most infamous players in this story is the Sea Peoples. They're like the villains of the Late Bronze Age, but also kind of a mystery. Who were they? And why did they show up when they did?
That's the thing. No one really knows. The Sea Peoples are mentioned in Egyptian inscriptions, especially during the reign of Ramses III. He described them as this confederation of naval raiders, the Peliset, Tjeker, Shekelesh, Denyen, and Weshesh. They attacked Egypt and other parts of the Mediterranean, and they were clearly a force to be reckoned with. But here's the twist. They might not have been invaders in the traditional sense. Some historians think they were actually refugees, displaced by other disasters.
Oh, that's interesting. So instead of being the cause of the collapse, they might have been a symptom of it. People forced to migrate because their own homes were no longer livable. That would explain why they seem to appear out of nowhere?
Exactly. And it's not hard to imagine why they might have been on the move. Around the same time, the Mediterranean was experiencing a massive drought. Archaeological evidence shows that rainfall dropped significantly around 1200 BC, and this dry period lasted for centuries. No rain means no crops, and no crops mean famine. It's a recipe for chaos.
And it wasn't just one region dealing with this, right? The drought affected the entire Mediterranean and Near East. There's this letter from the king of Ugarit, Abruptly, that really drives home how desperate things were. He wrote to another king saying, "Enemy ships are attacking, my cities are burning, and my people are starving." It's such a vivid snapshot of the chaos.
Yeah, and Ugarit wasn't the only place dealing with famine and attacks. Other cities in the region were facing similar crises. It's like the interconnectedness that made the Bronze Age so prosperous also made it incredibly vulnerable. When one part of the system failed, the rest started to unravel.
And then you add earthquakes into the mix. Geologists have found evidence of what's called an earthquake storm in the eastern Mediterranean during this period. It's when a fault line experiences a series of earthquakes over a relatively short time. Cities like Mycenae, Tiryns, and Troy were hit, and the destruction was devastating.
Right, and it wasn't just about the physical damage. When your city walls collapse and your buildings are in ruins, it's not just a matter of rebuilding. It's about survival. Leaders lose control, defenses are down, and suddenly you're vulnerable to invasions or internal revolts. It's like these societies were being hit from every angle.
And then there's the economic side of things. The Late Bronze Age was all about trade. These civilizations were interconnected in a way that's almost modern. They depended on each other for resources, like copper and tin, which were essential for making bronze. But if trade routes were disrupted, whether by pirates, invaders, or economic instability, the whole system could grind to a halt.
And that's exactly what seems to have happened. Once the flow of goods stopped, everything else started to break down. Armies couldn't get new weapons, farmers couldn't get new tools, and the ripple effects just kept spreading. It's like a house of cards. One piece falls, and the rest follow.
And the aftermath was just as dramatic. Writing systems disappeared in places like Greece, where the linear B script fell out of use. Art, architecture, and other cultural achievements took a back seat as people focused on survival. It's what historians call a dark age, and it lasted for centuries.
But here's the thing. Out of that chaos came new opportunities. With the old empires gone, new groups were able to rise to prominence. The Israelites and the Phoenicians, for example, started to establish themselves in the Levant. It's like the collapse cleared the stage for a new act in history.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. The collapse wasn't just an ending, it was also a beginning. It's a reminder that even in the darkest times, there's potential for renewal and growth.
Absolutely. And what's so compelling about this story is how it shows the fragility of even the most advanced societies. The late Bronze Age civilizations were incredibly sophisticated, but they weren't immune to the forces of nature, the complexities of their own systems, or the unpredictability of human behavior.
It's a humbling reminder, isn't it? No matter how advanced we think we are, we're still part of a larger system, one that can be disrupted in ways we might not even see coming.
Exactly. And maybe that's the real lesson of the late Bronze Age collapse. It's not just a story about what happened 3,200 years ago. It's a story about resilience, adaptation, and the interconnectedness of our world. Thank you for listening. Till next time.
From dust of kings and shattered crowns we rise, where ancient banners sleep beneath the skies. The drums remember footsteps carved in flame. Each stone still whispers Iran's timeless name. Tonight of steel and centuries of scars, the life breath of lives a falling star. No stone can chain the mountain or the sea. No winter blinds a nation's memory.